Hi, good afternoon. Joe here over at Willie Cottage. It's on a little bit late today. Oh, the house is so cold. It's so bitterly cold here today. So I just thought I'll pop on. Obviously I'm late, so I'm not expecting anyone to turn up. But if they do, great. If not, I'll just hang around for half an hour, 20 minutes or so. Because I know you're all really busy. We've got loads to be getting on with. We are practically in December. So I'm just going to spin. I haven't had a chance to get this rest of this weasant spun off. And I need to get on with washing the rest of it, which I will get stuck into tomorrow. But I've been busy this morning. I've just been, literally, I'm surprised I've even got a voice left. I have been talking for 3 hours, non-stop, on Instagram, on a live chat. Not a live chat, you're all on a video call. I'm surprised I've still got a voice. Oh God, honestly, I can feel the back of my throat. So I've obviously, it's past the long arm, the yard arm. So it's become gin o'clock, just so I can have my throat wet whistled. Sorry it's so dark. God, it's so dark. It's cosy dark though. But it's so cold. Phil's got the fire on. My bedroom window's still open. I forgot to go and close it. So I've shut the door so the girls can't get in. Lots of lozenges or a nice cuppa. Danielle, gin o'clock, love. Gin o'clock. I don't have kids at home to worry about, do I? It's just me and Phil. So I've just been down and poured myself a gin and lemonade. How are you doing, sweetie? You keeping yourself busy? Oh dear. So no, I've been helping. Every so often, every so often I get messages asking me how to get started. Sounds like nice stress making stock for Saturday market. I was going to ask if you've got any fairs going. You're really lucky where you live, being in the capital city and having all those events and public stuff going on around you, and the options to get pop-up shops. There's just no chance of anything like that here. We've got loads of empty shops in town, but not a single landlord offers it for even a weekend as a pop-up shop for anybody as a local work from home business. It would be ideal if they did, but they don't. But yeah, there's just nothing here really at all, and if there is, you've got to travel for 2 hours to get to it. But yeah, so every so often I get messages from people asking how to get started, like as a small business, and I do give advice, and then I push them off on their own little wings to go and fly on their own. But I'm always cheerleading from the background, because all of you guys know, and as I was complimented today, and I do often get complimented, that I'm come across as such an honest person and happy to help and make sure that people are pointed in the right direction. It's really bad having a pop-up at least gives a bit of colour to the street. Yeah, exactly, especially when you've got empty shops and there's no customers around. It definitely helps people. So yeah, so is a customer of mine, a client, has been my client for probably about 3-4 years, and yeah, I think she started buying from me just before I stopped selling on Etsy and went onto my own website. So it's just advice about that, because she's got so much stuff, bless her, and coming up with a business name or trying to think of something and sort of head banging a little bit and pointing in the right direction for different website platforms to use. And I don't mind doing that sort of thing. I mean, I can put my job down and stop doing what I'm doing for a couple hours chat if it helps somebody find the motivation to get going, just point them in the right direction, and just be there as moral support in the background for when they do get going, really, at the end of the day. Because when I started, I did all my own research and looked to see what people were selling things for and getting a rough idea of it from that direction, and looking for platforms to sell on, and just generally how to get going. And I've grown from a little bench at my back kitchen window, then into what used to be the kitchen, and then up to here in the space of 4 years. So all of that I've done off my own merit, my own back, with no advice from anybody. So I'm a philosopher of, if I have a bit of knowledge and I can share it, then education is free at the end of the day. You shouldn't have to pay to or ask somebody for a consultation fee just because you want to try and do something for yourself, because you're not working or you don't have to work, but you're bored rigid. That's really all it's about. I mean, I could go out to work if I wanted to, but my fibro really does limit me to what I can do outside of the house. Because employers, this day and age, you've got to be honest when you go for a job interview. You tell them if you've got any health conditions. And as soon as I tell them I've got fibro, there is no point in me even thinking of getting a reply for a job, because I know, I've been there. They're not interested. Different if you've got diagnosed with fibro while you're in employment, but when you're looking for a job, they don't understand it. They don't understand. They just think, oh, she's going to be taking sick days off here, there and everywhere. You don't. I work through my fibro. I just keep on going until I can't go anymore. And then I take a day off, and I hate it because it means I've got to catch my own backside for 3 more days before I can get back to where I should have been on the day that I took off. I'm a bit of a workaholic. I think that's the word for me, is workaholic. I'm just going to grab some wool. So, yeah, I'm a bit of a workaholic. But in my own time, with my own rules. So, I like to potter, I like to be doing stuff, I like to be active and proactive. And if I take a day off from doing what I'm doing, when I could be doing something else, i.e. up here working, then I always feel really guilty for not doing anything. I mean, I'm sure there's other people out there in the world that are like me, feel that where's my life gone? What have I done with it? I should be doing something else. Well, that's how I feel if I'm just sat downstairs watching TV. I did all that when my kids were little, just sit and watch TV and snuggled up on the sofa. You didn't have to be proactive. You were being proactive because you were bringing up kids. But when you get to like my age, I mean, granted, me and my kids have been slightly estranged for the last 8 years. But if they were here now and living together, I would still want to be proactive in doing something. I couldn't just sit on my backside in front of the TV and let the kids come home and pay the bills and cover the rent or the mortgage or whatever. It just wouldn't. It's just not going to happen. It's not inbuilt into me. It's just not the way I am. Thankfully, because my 3 kids have have taken that same sort of work ethic with them. But yeah, I've just got to be doing something all the time. Even if I'm sat in front of the TV in the evenings, I don't sit down for more than half an hour at any one time. Sit down for half an hour and I've got to get back up again. And sit down for another half an hour and I've missed 15 minutes of what it was that I was watching in the first place. And I've got to put it back to the beginning. And then I end up, for some reason, remembering what it was that I got up for in the first half hour and having to go up and go and get it because I totally forgot what it was that I was doing in the first place. It's like when you walk into a room and the men in black zap you and you forgot what it was that you were in the room for in the first place. That just doesn't happen to you when you're in your 40s. That happens to you all your adult life. So yeah, it's chaos. But it's a good chaos. It's keeping busy. At least I'll be able to turn around when I'm in my 70s and I'm not doing this any longer and like, well, I did achieve something. I made people happy. So, Daniela, are you doing a will pop-up this weekend or a proper Christmas fair? our town's having a Christmas food market, but there's not much else going on, and they're doing a 5-minute firework display in the harbour. Christmas fair, lots of sewing by hand, making decorations and corset belts plus jewellery. I saw your little your story thingy on Instagram the other day of your corset belts that you were making, and the vintage picture of a traditional corset. Did you ever get Bernadette Branner's hand sewing book, Sew Making Mend, or what? It was something like that anyway. The books on your Christmas list. Yeah, I love Bernadette Banner. Did you watch the one the other day that she released on YouTube when she was her sister set her on a challenge to create the dwarf with the beard, the female dwarf with the beard. Oh, it was so funny. It was really, really funny. I watch all her videos all the time. Yeah, it was really funny. Her sister set her on a challenge, and she starts off with the House of Banner has sent me on a challenge. So it's funny. Danius, she called her sister, like Daenerys. Yeah, I watched that the other day. She's very good. I found another lady. I'll have to see if I can find her name on my YouTube channel. And there's quite a few. You know, now and again they give you pop-up suggestions of YouTube content creators that do similar to what you already watch. And this woman's American again, but the dwarf beard, oh my goodness, it was hilarious. Have you seen the video of the gorgeous robe she made? Yes. And the advert that she did when she was rolling across the hallway floor as well for the VPN secret thingy, that was hilarious. Yeah, I did see the velvet robe that she made herself. It was really, really pretty. But yeah, I'll see if I can find this lady I'm on about. And this woman does vintage, she makes her own vintage wardrobe, but she's actually a shoemaker. So she makes her own shoes in vintage style, like Oxfords and the heels and things like that. It's absolutely fascinating. I'll find the content and I'll send you a link over on your over on your Instagram later on when I come off here. But yeah, she just released a video because she flew over to the UK with some friends, and it was a cruise. Nicole Rudolph, maybe. Have you seen her recent video when she was on about the cruise? She flew over to the UK, and her and her friends went up to Glasgow or something like that, and they had to wait to get the cruise back, and it was like a vintage cruise, and they had jazz bands and everything else, and every day that they had to dress up in the 1920s, 1930s clothing and attire. It was really quite good. I don't find her as relaxed. Her voice sort of irritates me a little bit, though I suppose my voice irritates. The Vintage Cruise, she was with Abby Fox as well. Yeah, that's the one. I'm useless at remembering names. I have to watch something a good few times before I remember it. I'm the same with everything. People's names, I never forget a face, but names I find really hard the last few years to keep in my memory banks. I've met so many people over the years. Names are never always on the top of my tongue. They're somewhere locked away in my memory banks. I need rejigged and shifted around a little bit a couple of times. But yeah, it was really interesting to watch that. But yeah, her voice grates me a little bit, but I persevere and watch her videos. And when she does the shoemaking, check out the Closet Historian. I do watch hers now and again. I watch the Closet Historian now and again. I watch a lady called the Cottage Fairy as well. She's an artist and she sells on Etsy. she's half Cuban, half American or something. Her mum and dad met in the Navy, and she's just got married this year. And she's really, really dead gentle and serene, and I like watching her videos. Just the way that she talks about things, and she does a lot of herbal teas and tinctures and sort of localized old medicines and stuff like that. She's really the most fantastic watercolor artist, and she sells things, as I say, on Etsy. I've never managed to order anything from her yet, but the Cottage Fairy, really, you should go and look her up on YouTube. If you just want something while you sat there doing your hand sewing, and you just want something really nice and gentle, and she's really sweet, and she's had a few illnesses and troubles over the last few years, but she seems to be getting a lot better now. But she's absolutely lovely, a really lovely woman. So sit and watch. Yeah, it's one of those. She's one of those channels that I just have on when I'm up here with my sewing machine on, and I'm paying attention, but I'm not fully in because I'll go back and re-watch them. You see, but it's just something to. She just the way she talks is very whimsy, and my brain just can concentrate while she's taking over the other part, my busy part of my brain, listening to her, and it's slightly meditative. I can't say that word. Meditative. Yeah, she's slightly it's like a meditation. It's probably the best way for me to say it because I hate that word. And she's just really, really nice. And there's another one that I found that I've been watching. I discovered this guy because I love watching off-grid programs, mostly like in Sweden, like Jonna Jansson. I've been watching her for donkey's years. And there's a Norwegian lady that lives not far from my friend Sasha in Bergen, and she's a natural dyer and herbalist, and her and her husband go around North Norway doing educational courses about how to go foraging and to get you through herbal remedies and things to get you through the winter, and how to preserve plants and berries and all that sort of stuff. So they teach schools about foraging. Her boyfriend is a graphics designer, and they live out in this little village, in this little farm. So I like watching stuff like that because it's educational, but it's really quite a nice way to just learn about a different culture. And I've always been fascinated with the Scandinavians anyway. So yeah, I like watching them. But there's a guy that I've discovered. He's a Dutchman. Martin, is it Huterberg or something like that, and he's from the Netherlands, but he's just bought in the Italian Alps last summer he bought a shepherd's hut where it's got another outbuilding at the side of it, and he's converting them into off-grid house for himself, and he's really interesting. He's a graphics designer, but in his previous videos he just cycles around the world and all over Europe on his bike, and he's just written a book, and it's just been published about his travels and stuff like that. And he's I mean, for a guy, he's just so relaxed and chilled out. It's unbelievable, and I quite like watching his videos as well. So I've been catching up with those and watching those videos and remote converting this what we would call in Scotland and in the north of England a bothy. But it's where the people, families from down in the local town at the bottom of the Alps would traverse up in the springtime till the end of summer with their sheep and stay in these little huts. They're not huts, they're proper little, it's like a little croft, but they're smaller than a croft. And they would live up there for the full spring, summer months and come back down the hills into town in the autumn. And it's really quite interesting. He's a really cool guy. So the way he talks is really relaxing and sedate and interesting, and he's at the moment he's just re-roofed with these gigantic slates, and they've got a traditional way of laying these slates on the roofs in this localized area. So he's just like taking them off, refurbished them, put in the new joists, and I just love all that sort of stuff. I absolutely love it. I'm such a geek. I suppose I'm a secret survivalist. Because if I watch all these things and if anything ever happens when we have an apocalypse, at least I know how to re-roof something from scratch or out a piece of timber. So this week he's been making rain gutters out of half trunk of wood. So he's like hollowing out so it catches the rain. And it's like all that work when you could just go down into the local DIY centre in the next city and buy a piece of plastic. But he doesn't want to do that. He wants to make it sympathetic. So and the scenery, some of the scenery that he captures from his vantage point of where he lives now, it's absolutely amazing. And I would say he's probably about my age. But he gets people, he's got people that follow him that are passing through, and they'll come and do a shift with him and stay with him on the site in their tents or wherever. In one video we had about 5 lads that are on a European tour from Alabama, and they come and helped him put up his tent for him to live in while he's getting the rest of his house done. Sounds cool, sounds like a shepherd's hut, but it's going to be so beautiful. Yeah, and it's really small, and underneath is like a cellar section where the animals would have lived, and he's going to convert that into a bathroom. But yeah, and he's not doing it like super posh Airbnb, come and stay in my shepherd's hut convert for £2,000 for a week. He's going to live in it, and if he ever has any guests, he's going to convert the one next door, which literally is just like a tiny ginnel between them, and convert that so that he's got a place for people to stay, or they can come and just pitch up their tent and put a shift in with him and help him improve the place he's in, and he feeds them. So yeah, and he's got a little outdoor kitchen because he loves to be outside, and it's just really interesting. I'm such a weirdo. I know, I am a weirdo, but it's just what I like to watch. It's a bit like watching a real life documentary. But I'm a YouTube addict. There's always something I find on YouTube that I'm quite happy to watch. Like the other week there, I was in the mood for watching a proper old Sherlock Holmes movie. You know, the old black and whites. And then I ended up watching a documentary about the original Miss Marple. Agatha Christie. She started off as Agatha Christie. Yeah, Agatha Christie's Miss Marple. I can't remember her name, but she played a part as a headmistress in St Trinian's years and years and years ago. Or it'll come to me. Was it Margaret something? Or it'll come to me in a bit. And I ended up watching a documentary about this actress, this British actress, who played Miss Marple. And next thing I know, I've gone on a whim. I'm looking up all the movies, all the old I used to love black and white movies. So I think for an entire day I binge watched black and white movies, the old mysteries, Sherlock Holmes and Agatha Christie's all in black and white, and they were fantastic. I mean, some acting's a little bit wooden, and you can see they were on what we would call a budget today compared to these multi-million-pound TV shows, let alone movies. But yeah, it was really good. Just as thought, it felt nostalgic. I mean, to be fair, this time of year I'm usually watching Christmas Hallmark movies, but it was just I just had this urge to watch some old black and white movies, and feels like, oh my god, what are you watching? I'm like, watching all black and white. Do you not miss them? So the acting was so completely different back then. The characters were three-dimensional as well, without being overcomplicated. And you usually have like 1 or 2 main actors, whereas you get a movie nowadays, there's like 27 main actors in it. And it can all get a little bit too much action going on. Sometimes you want, like the old black and white Fly. If anyone's ever watched that, you come back to me and tell me it's not scarier than the Goldblum one. Because the old black and white Fly, they left those old movies to your own imaginations. You didn't have to see him turn into a fly. You just knew that he was, and you didn't want to look. Watching the old black and white Hammer horrors, yes, yeah, I know. And the old Alfred Hitchcock in black and white as well. It's just really, really cool when you'd like just take an urge to go and hunt them out. Even watching an old western sometimes, it sort of just brings back nostalgia of being a kid. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, we all watched war movies. Every weekend, Dad would either be westerns, Bonanza, or it would be old war movies. And to be fair, I brought up in old war movies, and Alfred Hitchcock and the Birds. I'm still looking for one that I can't remember. Back in the mid-90s, when I lived at home, I was still living at home in the early 90s, I had a little tiny TV radio in my bedroom, and at 11:30 at night on Channel 4 they used to stick on the old 50s and 60s horror movies, and there was one, and I swear it was Alfred Hitchcock, and I still can't find it to this day, and it's stuck in my mind ever since, and it was the best, most scariest, most funniest film I have ever seen. And it was about a guy who accidentally murdered somebody in an apartment, or in his apartment, and it just turns into a calamity of errors, and he ends up with body parts hidden in lampshades and in the sofa cushions, and the police turn up, and it was absolutely oh, it was so funny. And I couldn't even remember the name of the movie or I always thought it was Alfred Hitchcock, but it wasn't, because Phil tried to look for me a couple of weeks ago and still can't find it. There's so many movies that are lost these days that you really need to go and hunt them out, and YouTube is the best place to go and find an old movie that you just won't be able to watch on TV anymore. Oh dear. Anyway, I've gone off on a tangent today. This is supposed to be spinning and nattering about fibres, and I've ended up on a whim. It's because I've been gossiping for 3 hours this morning. It's like having a conversation with Billy Connolly when you have a conversation with me. You start off on one topic, goes through all the different pathways, and I end up at the original topic at the end, and then it's goodbye, sweetheart, I'm off. So what's everybody been up to? Have you got all your Christmas shopping done? That dreaded word. Thankfully, our 5 kids between us, are all grown up, and they just get 40 quid shoved in a card for them these days. It doesn't matter whether you're single or a couple, you all get the same. Do we look like we're rich? No, we're not. And with 3 grandkids, so we've had to get them presents because we're not sending them money this year, because you never know what they're going to get. So, and nobody ever tells you what they've bought you. When we were kids and your grandparents would send you money because they didn't know what to get you, at least your mum and dad told your grandparents what it was that you'd bought with your Christmas money, or what they'd gone out and bought with your Christmas money, which is what I used to do when my kids were little. But no, so I've bought one of my grandsons his first, not a Scalextric, but very similar to a Scalextric, and the little one, so his little Quinn, and there's Arlo, his little brother, and we've bought him a push-along Scalextric. Well, it does have remote controls, but it's for under 3s. So he's gotten that because both my grandsons are 2 and 4. And then Phil's granddaughter, Autumn, who I got to meet this summer, which was brilliant, because I hadn't met her yet. I haven't even met my youngest grandson yet, and he's 2. And Autumn's a week younger than Arlo, so she's just turned 2 as well. So she's been a little bit spoilt, because it's so much easier buying from the granddaughter, because Victoria's brilliant. She'll let us buy her anything, and we don't do like send things down or anything like that often, but we know that she'll get to play with it and it won't get taken off her because Granny's bought it, which is how it is with me and my grandsons. So yeah, so what did we get? What did we get little Autumn? We end up getting her, she's into that flipping pig. What's it called? Peppa Pig. She's into Peppa Pig, which is great, because I'll spend a fortune on the kids, giving half a chance. So I bought her all her Christmas presents in the summer when she came down in August, and I bought all her Christmas presents, these wooden toys and some Peppa Pig stuff. And then we ended up going out and completely forgetting that we'd already bought her a Christmas, and we sent Phil's cousin back down to Hampshire when she was going down to see her kids, because she moved up here last year. and sent her down with another Christmas present, which is a Peppa Pig scooter. Because I like to buy all the first things before anybody else buys them. Because I'm like that. Granny bought your first bike. Granny bought your first scooter. So yeah, if I can't get to see them, I buy the first of everything. That's just how it is. Them's the rules. I beat you, I did it first. I'm such a child. Right, I need to give my voice a rest because half an hour been in here. I've just waffled away. I have definitely got the natterbots this last week. I was the same on Saturday as well on Instagram. 62 minutes I was on there from a live chat on Saturday. So I think I will I need to go and do some computer stuff, and I need to put in my tax. I need to do me inland revenue. I haven't done it yet. I keep forgetting to do it. And I need to do that today or tomorrow at the latest. Phil's back to work tomorrow. He's been off for the last 10 days. Oh my lord. I might actually get some proper work done and get the house a bit tidier. Oh, yeah, lots of chatting. I've done 3 hours this morning and then I've just done half an hour on here. So I so need to go and give my voice a rest, much to the celebration of Phil, because he did get slated quite a bit on this phone call this morning, this video call. But oh, what a laugh we had. Anyway, I like leaving people cheered up. My job is done. The Fluff Fairy has been and gone. So I'm off. I've got a fluff rescue to get started and made up to post out on Friday. Not Friday, Saturday. Saturday, if you want the orders, Saturday afternoon is when I'm posting out because this strike's the next few days. So yeah, so Saturday is when I'm next at the post office. So if you've got anything you want to put on there, fluff rescues, whatever, use your discount codes. If you don't subscribe when you're watching this tomorrow, use winter in capital letters on my website at checkout and it'll take 15% off all your order, the full lot of it, okay? If you don't subscribe, go on there because I'm going to send out the reactivated lemon drizzle cakes. Oh, Bridie, I didn't see you, love. Hello. Yeah, I know. I haven't got any lemons in. I'll have to wait to go shopping on Friday. I've got lozenges down in the drawer. I've just got the natters. I've got the natters. But I need to go and get some work done. I need to give my voice a rest. I need to do my inland revenue. And I need to do another model on a 3D printer. Because I've been practicing. So I need to go and find another model. Anyway, I'm off ski. See you Saturday. About 12:30, I think, on Saturday. Because Phil will be finishing. I need to get to the post office and be quick, smart and ready for Phil picking me up from work. So it'll be 12:30 on Saturday on Instagram for live chat. I'm hoping I can get a video together for uploading next week on the YouTube channel. But remember, Christmas Advent start from tomorrow. So there'll be a new little video go up every day. So that way, if I forget to do a video, then no one can tell me off. So thank you very much for joining me today. See you Saturday. Bye.